So on May 8th, 2026, the entire global paradigm shifted basically overnight. The US government suddenly authorized the totally unprecedented release of classified UAP files. In this explainer, we're going to tear down the anatomy of a sudden disclosure. We're looking right past the empirical reality of the objects themselves, because we really need to ask what this jarring shift in transparency actually signifies.
Right, and that's the core issue. The central anomaly here, it isn't the data itself, it's the timing. Why disclose the unimaginable right now? I mean, after literally decades of aggressive systemic denial, why is the government suddenly volunteering this information? Are we looking at a genuine desire for public truth? Or is there a strategic underlying psychological tension to this release? These are definitely questions worth examining.
Exactly. And to understand that timing, we have to look at the catalyst. Section 1, the transparency shift. This represents an absolutely abrupt, jarring reversal in official military policy regarding anomalous phenomena. The sheer volume of this data dump is highly strategic. Think about the number 16. Directed by President Trump, the Department of War pushed out 162 unresolved UAP files under the new Pursue system. We're talking military encounters, astronaut transcripts, FBI memos. It was a historic and, frankly, a deeply calculated maneuver. Right, but the official narrative, it's perfectly polished. The Department of War stated, President Trump is focused on providing maximum transparency to the public. But releasing 162 totally unresolved cases just creates a vacuum. When the government officially goes on record to claim they have no idea what these objects are, they aren't providing clarity. They're engineering uncertainty. And to really measure the gravity of that engineered uncertainty, we have to look backwards. Section 2. Decades of strategic denial. The military basically has an 80-year historical blueprint of obscuring the truth. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, quietly confirmed this in their 2024 Historical Record Report. You know, the U.S. government has been actively investigating UAPs since 1945. For nearly 8 decades, the military was deeply entrenched in analyzing these phenomena behind totally closed doors.
Just look at the timeline. It spans from Project Blue Book in the 1950s all the way to the formation of ARO in 2022, right up to the 2026 file release. Historically, this extreme level of classification was justified by 2 main strategic goals. First, protecting advanced U.S. experimental tech at sites like Area 51, and second, preventing mass public hysteria. But here's where the tension really builds. Section 3, engineered panic and deception. Because if avoiding mass hysteria was the primary goal for 80 years, what happens when a governing body deliberately decides to induce it? We really have to explore the unsettling potential for psychological operations here. Consider the collision of these 2 profound deception narratives. On one side, you have Serge Monast's 1994 Project Bluebeam theory, which suggests global elites will use advanced holographics to stage a fake extraterrestrial event. Now compare that to the ancient Islamic eschatological narrative of the Dajjal, a false messiah arriving during a time of systemic collapse, offering material solutions wrapped up in profound deception. Both concepts feature a global populace brought to its knees by fear, completely primed to accept a unified, authoritarian solution.
Exactly. While the Aussiology gives us one lens, strictly from an intelligence perspective, the architecture of controlled disclosure is entirely terrestrial. Staged events designed specifically to induce fear, selective truths, and heavy redactions that only serve to confirm our vulnerability, dismantling our existing belief systems just to present a unified, authoritative solution. I mean, it's a textbook psyop to centralize power during a manufactured crisis. Yet, we can't ignore the physical anomalies themselves. Section 4, the Crypto-Terrestrial Hypothesis. While geopolitics plays its game of information control, modern academia is starting to propose paradigm-shifting theories about what these non-human intelligences actually might be. Yeah, in 2024, researchers from Harvard and Montana actually published a peer-reviewed paper introducing this exact concept. The Crypto-Terrestrial Hypothesis suggests that UAPs might not be extraterrestrial visitors from deep space at all. Instead, they might belong to a highly intelligent, concealed species that already shares this planet with us. The specific phrasing from that Harvard paper is absolutely critical. Quote, concealed earthly beings with a long-term presence. They're suggesting a hidden intelligence operating right in our peripheral vision. And what's truly unsettling here is just how seamlessly this modern academic theory aligns with an incredibly ancient metaphysical framework. Which brings us to Section 5, Jinn and the Unseen. To really grasp this, we have to cross-reference the modern Crypto-Terrestrial Hypothesis with 1400-year-old Islamic cosmology. In Islamic tradition, there is this fundamental concept of al-ghaib, or the unseen. It defines a parallel dimension, a hidden reality that exists concurrently with our observable world. This sets a very clear precedent for beings that operate entirely outside our current understanding of physics, totally beyond the reach of military radar and satellite imaging. Surah Al-Hijr, verse 27, it states, "In the jinn we created before from scorching fire." So they are described as beings of smokeless fire, maybe in energy form, or maybe existing on a specific frequency. They are a creation whose physics simply do not fit into our conventional scientific vocabulary, and yet they're inextricably tethered to Earth. The overlap between our modern military sensor data and that ancient theology is, well, it's impossible to ignore. Islamic concepts describe jinn as existing in a parallel dimension, totally invisible to the human eye, yet capable of rapid flight and shape-shifting. Crucially, they are restricted from accessing the higher heavens. Now compare that to modern UAP reports. We're tracking objects demonstrating instant acceleration, vanishing suddenly, acting highly anomalous in our atmosphere, but noticeably struggling to move beyond certain orbital boundaries. It is a very distinct intelligence anomaly. Section 6, Architecture of Hidden Truths. This is the culmination where we merge the threads of modern geopolitical disclosure, intelligence operations, and ancient cosmic architecture. Listen to the sheer gravity of this quote from Surah At-Talaq, verse 12. "It is Allah who has created 7 heavens and of the earth the like of them." This is a profound cosmological statement from the 7th century. It proposes a vast, populated cosmos existing in layers, occupying dimensions that are far, far beyond current human discovery. Furthermore, the Quran explicitly mentions dabba, meaning physical, biological moving creatures scattered throughout the heavens and the earth. Think about that for a second. Centuries before modern space agencies began scanning the sky for exoplanets, this text had already laid a foundation for the reality of biological life scattered across the universe. And that brings us to the ultimate intersection. You've got military secrets, psychological operations, and the reality of the unseen all colliding. Because whether we're facing advanced terrestrial military tech, a globally engineered psyop designed to consolidate political power, or genuinely concealed metaphysical entities, the core issue remains the same: information control. The establishment is revealing just enough to make us question our reality, but never quite enough to give us the full picture. We've seen the newly released files, we know the historical blueprint of deception, and we are starting to understand the vastness of the unseen. But if the absolute truth remains hidden, whether it's locked in some classified military vault or obscured behind the veil of a parallel dimension, we have to ask, who is truly controlling the narrative? And more importantly, what exactly are they preparing us for?